Asake didn't just break into Afrobeats. He dominated it with hit after hit. No long rollout, no slow build. 1 year, and suddenly his sound was everywhere. What's good, y'all? It's your boy, BDA, back with another BDA Speaks. Here to just talk to you again about another trending topic, another trending artist, but another artist that I really like and I've always really wanted to tap into and do a little bit of a deeper dive into. What we're going to talk about today is Asake, Mr. Money with the Vibe. Mr. Money with the Vibe now. Mr. Money with the Vibe now. Realistically, Asake is like one of the craziest artists. For me, when Asake came out, it was the year 2022, around then. And the first song that I heard from Asake that I realized, oh, this is Asake, this artist, was Peace Be Unto You. And when I tell you that song lifted me out of my body, I was like, what is this? This is different. This is a different sound. This came in like a storm, and he came in at a really pivotal moment for me in my life. I was looking for a new role at this time. I was looking for a new job. Asake's music gave me a certain type of uplift, a certain type of joy. It came from his ability to take the Afrobeats sound and layer it on top of piano beats. At the time when Asake had came out, he was a breath of fresh air. Pandemic had came and everybody was in their house and really wanted some new music to tap into. And that's where Afrobeats filled in that void. It was getting really repetitive. It was getting to the point where I felt like every Afrobeat song sounds the same. Every Afrobeat song sounds like the other. And I was just over it at that point. When I first heard Asake's music, I was really like, oh, this guy's good. All these artists that were chasing the viral trend, you could kind of see it and hear it in their music. They were trying to find those catchy hooks. They were trying to find those catchy samples and flavors that people are going to gravitate to when they're making those dance challenges. But Asake didn't compromise his music. He didn't compromise his energy by trying to chase those. He let those come to him. Another thing that made Asake stand out to me was the fact that he was able to continuously put out music in his own local dialect without having to necessarily compromise his sound. I listen to Asake's music. I don't know what he's saying. I don't know but I do know that when I sit down and look at the lyrics, most of his music is actually about praising God or giving reverence and thanks to God and working hard and being a diligent, hardworking person. And I feel that I've always gotten that energy from his music already. Piano had been around for a long time, and I mean, it was in that Afro house realm. It was, that sound was brewing, and Asake was able to cling onto that sound while layering his culture on top of it. And you could see that the beats and the production was very South African influence with the lock drum and the rhythm and everything like that. And taking that sound and meshing the two, I think even took him more globally because it was a sound that wasn't necessarily being produced by anybody else in the Afrobeat scene. So Asake's rise wasn't necessarily by accident. Asake had teamed up with Olamide. Yeah. Asake had partnered up with Olamide, and Olamide is a godfather of Nigerian music. He has the label imprint YBNL, and they've put out dope artists like Naira Marley, but big Afrobeats heavy hitters that have hits, real hits. So the fact that he was able to come through that ecosystem, it gave him a really good boost. And the song Omo Olope, the song Omo Ope with Olamide and Asake came out, and that song came in heavy, came in like big time. That was a tune. Coming up with that imprint and having that support around him, it was very easy for Nigerians to kind of gravitate towards his sound as well. That song was basically everywhere the year it came out. Asake had already a really big cosign. He already had the local sound pushing towards him, and people were looking for more of Asake's music. So Asake came out, he rolled out his 2 hit singles, Sungba and Peace Be Unto You. Now, Peace Be Unto You is where my connection with Asake started. And this kind of just leads to the timing of everything. Asake's timing was almost perfect. He entered the scene at a time when Afrobeats was out of its infancy and more globally recognized. It was more probable that you'd go out and hear Afrobeats music being played. When I was growing up in 2015, 2016, 2018, you wouldn't hear any of that. You would start hearing that type of music maybe around 2018 with Davido. If you want me to make that Davido video, make sure y'all comment below. Give me some feedback. Let me know if that's something you want to see. And at the time, Asake came into the scene when Afrobeats had already been really prevalent. Like you had songs like Peru, Love and Titi, Calm Down from Rema. These songs already made it very palatable for general audiences to come and try a new sound. And Asake's sound was very different and set apart from others. So essentially, Asake was able to leverage that massive success from those global hit singles and was able to use social media and snippet culture. Like people were fiending to see the next snippet from Asake. he was able to take that and use those to just push these singles and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed to the point where you can't go to no Afrobeats event and you don't hear Peace Be Unto You. Of course, after this run, he went on tour, crushing big venues and getting his name out there. Not necessarily like the venues that we would eventually see him fill, but definitely on tour internationally outside of America. And that's another thing that we're always trying to push. I know for a fact Ghanaian artists to come out here, get some paperwork like you're working, come and perform, come and do the small venues, come and do the spots that have 100 people, come and do those spots, because you're not going to be able to fill stadiums, the Barclays. Yeah, you might do some small shows, but come and ignite that fan base here. Come and show the fans that you are real and alive. And that's Asake going on that tour and going on this feature, putting himself in position to just continue to maximize the already growing momentum he had, just led to him continuing to roll with the punches and allowing him to foster this impact that he was trying to put on the music by bringing his culture and showing people his culture, not compromising his culture to fit into tight boxes that maybe the industry would have pushed him to fit into. Asake represents that unapologetic African spirit. Africans are prideful but humble people too. We have pride in who we are, and Asake kind of embodied that for a lot of Africans. Asake kind of carried that for people to connect to. I don't know what he's saying in most of his music, to be honest, but I connect with it. And a lot of people that don't know anything about Africa connect with it too. So with this cultural impact, Ashake's been able to grace many larger venues than the venue that I went to see him at. He's been at the O2, he's been at Barclays. If you're an Asake fan and you haven't seen the Red Bull Symphonic, you are no longer allowed to be an Asake fan. One of, if not the best performances that I've seen from an Afrobeats artist. He showed up to different events. He's had cultural impact beyond the music. He's been at Paris Fashion Week. He's been on magazine covers, and you can't really talk about Afrobeats music without mentioning Asake. That's the type of cultural impact that he's had on the Afrobeats industry as a whole. When you're talking about all these positive things when it comes to an artist, you do have to look at the other side of the coin and kind of think, well, what's next for Asake? Is he going to kind of fade out of relevance? Is he going to continue to push the boundaries of Afrobeats music? It's really hard to tell, because now he could stop making music and I'm sure he'd be perfectly fine with all of the success he's had thus far. But it doesn't seem like he's done with the music yet. In recent times, he definitely has gone a little bit more quiet. We see less releases from him, but as of late, he's actually been working with Wizkid, and they're releasing a joint album together that I genuinely am super excited for. The single that they just released, Jogodo, is a banger. So as someone that's a Wizkid and a Asake fan, I think that some of the quiet that he had been going through leading up to this was kind of just setting up for this next release.